City Hall here was built back in 1977 as part of a federal grant to have our new City Hall. We were in an old area of town before, and we had outgrown that space, so we moved here. And then we added the police addition on in 1994. And this building has served us well over the last 45 years, but there's a lot of improvements that need to be made. So we're proposing to do this City Hall renovation and expansion project to address some of the deficiencies of this building. Lack of restrooms is number one. I mean, we have fewer restrooms for the public here than most people have in their homes. That's a significant deficiency. There's 7 residential furnaces and air conditioning condensers that service this building, which is extremely unusual. Usually you have a commercial rooftop unit, so there's a lot of inefficiencies with that. The police hallway is extremely long, and so it's not very welcoming for residents to come down to visit the police department. And so this addition will provide a separate entrance for the police department. Our common areas are very uninviting and dark. It's a very 1970s era vibe that hasn't changed, so the project's going to add a lot of natural light. A lot of our staff spaces are inadequate for the purposes of today's business, especially in Park and Rec. We have a lot of staff stuffed into a very small area, so this addition will give them some space. And then we'll have the council chambers that will get separated from the multi-purpose room. So then we can have a council meeting go on at the same time as an event. For our median home value in Spring Lake Park, it'll be about $9 a month. So it's a pretty reasonable addition, and the reason for that is because we have a number of bonds that are coming off the tax levy, so we're able to rededicate those debt service payments to cover the costs of this project.
Some of the new things that we're going to see, and most noticeably, is the PD will move to the front of the City Hall building. Right now there's a long hallway, it's not quite as accessible. There's also a safety factor to that as well. There'll be a separate entrance. It will provide our employees and the public with a little more security with that separate entrance. With the new space that we're going to have, it's going to be a little more conducive to a better work environment. A good example of that is right now is our squad room. Yeah, it's very cramped. Officers have individual workstations on their own. Our new squad room is going to be a little under double the size of our current one, but there'll be shared workstations so that the officers can work individually, but they can also collaborate as a group. We're going to get some much needed technology advancements in the PD as well. Obviously things have totally changed since 1994. We're going to get a much needed expansion to our evidence room, as well as technology placed into that evidence room. Just digital evidence has changed in how we enter it in. So that's going to be a big change. We're going to get a much needed women's locker room in the police department. Another large part that we're going to get is we're going to get access to a new emergency operations center. Obviously our most important thing in the city and for our residents is their safety. One of the most important goals for us is that we think that it's going to help out with our community as well, greater opportunities to build relationships with them. We'll be able to have room now and space to host citizen academies, coffee with a cop, right here at City Hall rather than going outside. So to really advance those opportunities for us with the police department.
The biggest thing with the deficiencies of what we have now is, from 1977 to the current time, things have changed significantly with plan review and how permits are submitted. So the changes that we're going to get will help that workflow process. And then we'll also be updating a significant portion, which is all of City Hall will then have fire suppression system, which is good for both the protection of people that are in here, but then protection of the building itself. Another good thing that they've done is with the remodeling project, they've limited the amount of structural change and load-bearing walls. So it'll be built up well and not have to go too far in depth, changing structural aspects of things and keeping it cost effective.
I'm Bruce Paulson with Stantec. I am the project architect, and I've been working with the city department heads now for about 8 months on this project, working through the existing building layout and having conversations about how much expansion to do, how to do the renovation, and what sizes to make all of the departments to be able to accommodate current staff and projected growth for the staff. The main parts of the design were to make the building layout more efficient. There's a lot of hallways in the building right now, and it's a little difficult to navigate around. The second biggest important thing, as both Dan and Josh indicated, is getting the police from the back of the building to the front of the building so that they've got their own identity and can more readily engage with the residents that come in and have to talk with the police for whatever manner. The other very important part of this design was hardening the exterior of the building for staff to be safe. We're doing level 3 bullet resistant windows at all of the front desks, both for the city utilities, recreation department, as well as the police. That's all level 3 protection. We're also doing the exterior glazing at the link that's between the vestibules. That's also be done with a level 3 glazing to help reinforce the building and to make the staff that work here feel safe. And as I indicated, the original building was built in 1977, doesn't currently comply with the current energy codes. So also as part of this project, we're re-insulating the exterior walls. We're replacing the roof, putting on insulation that complies with the current energy code in order to make the building much more energy efficient. And as Dan had indicated, there's 7 furnaces right now. We're going to redo the mechanical system to make that more of a commercial type of system that provides a more uniform interior environment for the entire building. Current plan is to have the drawings completed and to the City Council for approval to issue for bidding probably late October, with the plan to then go out for bids and start construction in spring of next year.
Since 2012, when I was elected to council, we've been talking about renovating, building new to keep the cost down. This plan has worked out after 8 years to be the best that we've had. You've heard of the deficiencies from Josh and Jeff, and of course Dan, and this is the best plan we have because it's just an old building. It's not useful for what we do now in City Hall. It's just awkward to get along in the building.
The biggest thing for us is a dedicated programming space. So we have the room to offer more programs at different times. So if there's an activity in one side of the conference room, we can't offer an activity on the other side because of the noise with that. The other big thing is the restroom facilities. When we have our day trips and we have 40 people waiting to get on a bus for 3 hours, they want to use the restrooms. And when we only have one facility to accommodate that, it just doesn't work for our citizens. We're looking forward to efficiency, so our programming needs, we don't have our storage in one area where we have to go all the way down the hall to get some supplies, can bring it back to the program area.
This project is really needed, and to make the spaces more appealing for our residents, to build that sense of community here, and then to make this continue to make it a high quality work environment for our employees.